Welcome everybody to episode. Oops, sorry, I can kill the music. I was just telling the crew I really actually enjoy the music provided by this system, and I might be the only one who does. So I apologize if our music isn't some of your favorites. So welcome to episode 19 of Agentic SaaS Talks. We have a really fun session today where we're going to be talking to Dennis from HoneySales. They're a successful SaaS company with a fun product and interested customers, and we're headed firmly down a journey, and they're very sure what the journey was. And then the switch to agentic has happened, and so we're going to talk to them about what that means. And so how do you pivot to start embracing agentic in such a way that you don't lose track of the vision that you already have, and you don't lose the support of the customers that you're already doing. And so it's a really fun topic. I think it's a core topic to most of the companies out there today in America and the world in general. And so there's a lot of interesting nuances. I'm joined today by Erwin and Marcus, two longtime friends of the show, and co-hosts of the show with me. And so with that, I kind of actually want to just dive straight in to Dennis and some of the questions. And so Dennis, if you wouldn't mind, give us a little bit of introduction about who you are and your HoneySales story, as well as kind of what do you guys do and how are you currently delighting your customers?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. So first of all, thank you very much for the invitation to join this, how we call it, webinar. Yeah, happy to be here. So my name is Dennis. Currently, I'm a CTO at HoneySales. Yeah, I started my journey in tech quite some time ago, graduated as an information security specialist, worked some years in this industry, then transitioned to software engineering, worked in many companies as individual contributor first. Then I moved in 2016 from St. Petersburg to Berlin, and yeah, continued my journey, I would say, work in different companies here in Berlin. Probably you know some of them like Diallo, Flaconi, Alto 1. And yeah, recent 6 years, I decided to switch more to managerial position for people management, still in tech for sure, and focus mostly on startups. And what I'm doing recent 6 years, basically helping founders to build amazing products. I mean, in my case, I consider my main job is to transition bright ideas of founders into tech and yeah, distribute this knowledge to tech people in the language they understand, and other way around for sure as well. So HoneySales, I joined the company a bit more than a year ago, November 2024. But company is not super new, I would say. So the HoneySales journey started a bit more than 3 years ago. They started as a service provider. So it means that our customers were doing sales on behalf our people were doing sales on behalf of our customers. So we have direct access to the tooling like CRM, the mailboxes, calendars. So all the sales activities were done by our people manually. Okay, not literally manually. We developed a lot of tooling to automate their job as much as possible, but still everything were operated on our side. And yeah, customers were pretty happy. So at the end, our product was the main value of the product was that our customers at some point of time somehow seen the booked meetings in their calendar. So they did nothing, and then suddenly they have some meetings in the calendar, and everybody was pretty happy that they don't need to invest their time in that. But as you may see, this model is not scalable. So if we want to have more customers, we need to hire more people because everything is done manually, and that's when was the first pivot to SaaS from service provider mode. And so we decided that probably we should combine all the tooling we developed so far and give direct access to our customers so they may operate with all those tools on their own without our people involved in that. Or to be completely honest, people are still involved, and that's probably why we're now developing agents, but we will get to this point a bit later. And yeah, so it requires still a lot of software development, architectural changes. So to combine all those tools, to put some layers on top. And yeah, so we transitioned to sales SaaS product, and our customers has direct access to HoneySales. So they upload a list of prospects or list of leads relevant to the ICP, and then HoneySales service start tracking those customers, basically searching for signals telling you that this is the right moment to reach them out, and you may try to sell your product. So it might, I mean, it always depends on our business, which signals you expect to have, but usually it's some new hirings in the company, some new software changes in the company, or they try to move some to some other region. So a lot of reasons might be. On top of that, we using AI, we generate personalized message, which includes all the data we collected about the company, about the persona we trying to reach out, so we are finding the match between the sale persona and the guy on the opposite side. So, and then on top of that, we also have quite sophisticated outreach tooling, including email warming up, combining emails, LinkedIn. So I would say pretty sophisticated sales pipeline you may have in HoneySales. And yeah, this product work amazing, I would say, but not for all of our customers. And
this is what I wanted to ask, Danny. Sorry to interrupt, right? Because as an agency before, right? So you had that kind, you send your people to your customer, they give you the list of customers, and then magically you do all the work behind, and they just get a calendar invitation in their Outlook, right? So they get kind of appointment with the customer. Looks beautiful, right? So lead generation works. Now suddenly, right, from there you push them into SaaS, where they also, it's a shared responsibility. They also need to do part of the work, and suddenly, part of that magic disappeared, right? So that means that they would need to upload it, they would also need to track it, and they would also probably need to put it in their own calendar. How did they react?
Yeah, you catch me, Erwin. It didn't work that smooth as I described at the beginning. For sure, some customers were not happy. I mean, first of all, I should do small correction in this service provided mode. Customers didn't do anything. They didn't even upload the prospect list. Everything was done, like including prospecting, was done by HoneySales. And with SaaS, they had to start working with the tool directly. So they have to come up with the list of prospects, a list of leads, and then systems start checking it. For sure, during this transition phase, some customers will lost. Sorry. But then we invented this SaaS Plus product.
Mhm.
It means that everything was done still on our SaaS platform, but it was done by still people on our side.
Okay.
So for our main old customers who were happy with our previous product, so we decided to introduce this SaaS Plus. So they still eventually had their calendar meeting booked in their calendar, sorry, but all the manual stuff was on our side.
Mhm.
But I would say we started getting more and more customers, because when you have a SaaS product and you just give access to someone and they may do everything on their own, we don't need to hire more people anymore, and products started scaling. But yeah, as I said, it worked not for everyone. And what we recognized is when company has a clear understanding what their ideal customer profile is or their ICP segments, they have a lot of value from products. So they give us relevant prospects, systems start tracking them, find relevant signals, and so on. So the pipeline starts, the one which I described before. But if company doesn't have this clear understanding, or in most of the cases they have it, but it's not based on real data. So they have some in the imagination, but actually it's not the real ICP, especially when you start checking their data in their customer relationship management tooling. So you clearly see that ICP is actually different. And if they give us wrong prospects, it doesn't matter how cool our tracking system is, like all the rest of the pipeline is irrelevant. And yeah, usually how you solve this problem, you hire a sales consultant. So the guy come to your company, check your data, get access to CRM, analyze what's going on there, then talk with your team, ask proper questions, collect all the answers, then probably check your recent meeting transcriptions. And at the end of the day, then they generate these ICP segments. And yeah, usually it's like 2-3 ICP segments per company. I mean, for sure it's different, depends how big is your business. But small, medium-sized companies, they usually have 2, 3, 5 ICP segments. And yeah, so we even had this in mind. Probably we should do that, not hire ICP sales consultants, but connect our customers to sales consultants. But then, like, it felt immediately as we getting back to service provider mode, which is once again not scalable. And yeah, that's how we came up to this agents idea. So we started thinking probably, I mean, you know, this, it began end of 2024, like a lot of hype around LLM and agents specifically. And we were like, okay, probably this is the right technology to build a digital version of this sales expert with software. And we may have all the benefits of having this expert, but since it's digitized, we still may scale as we did so far. And yeah, main idea was that this agent will help our customers to build those ICP segments, and then we build it in our existing pipeline and the rest we basically have already.
Dennis,
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt. Maybe just for the audience, what is an ACP segment?
ICP, ideal
ICP, sorry.
customer profile.
Ideal customer profile. Okay.
Yeah, so different companies has different structure of this ICPs or how they define the ICP. It could be different regions or depends on different products, or you sell product to different company sizes, so you have to approach them differently. That's why you have these different ICPs.
Okay. So if I can interrupt real quick, I do think we've had a perfect transition in the conversation. And so, Dennis, I can't thank you enough for actually setting the stage for kind of the shift to agentic and agents and how you got there. Because it's funny, if you look at the history of of this series, Agentic SaaS Talks, this is also how over the course of the year, our series is kind of adopted. Because in 2024, everyone's talking about, hey, we need to go to SaaS. We need to take the manual processes out of our steps, and we need to kind of automate. And then once then the LLM rush hit, and said, hey, what we need to do is we need to add LLMs to make the automation more intelligent. But basically, it was just answering questions it was already doing. And now we're talking about agents. And so, Marcus, if you don't mind me putting it on the spot, before we get back in kind of Dennis and the details of what HoneySales did, AWS reInvent is just around the corner. I know agentic is going to be probably the third word. Every 3 words at AWS reInvent is talking about the word agentic. And so that natural transition from, hey, we're selling services, to, hey, I've got an idea, now I'm selling software, to now I've got telling my software I need to deliver it via SaaS, to now, hey, my SaaS needs to be smarter, and now I need to move to agents. Can you just kind of walk us through that transition, what we're going to, how it relates to how you're talking to your customers every day at AWS, and then we'll dive back into Dennis's and how they're bringing agentic to their HoneySales customers.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I think Dennis pointed it out very well, right? So the whole shift from service provider to SaaS was basically a shift also from the software vendor being the bottleneck to moving the bottleneck to the customer, right? So because somebody had to sit in front of all these tools and click the buttons and follow the workflows that somebody had designed. And I mean, there was certainly automation behind the scenes to a certain degree, but traditional software, even in the SaaS times, was very often centered around the human. And it would be the human that drives things forward. And that was because there was just no intelligence or no system that was capable to ingest, take into information from different sources and rationalize it, and then kind of decide on what are the next best steps. But this is now changing with this new technology that we have at our disposal. So first of all, it can take and ingest information from different sources, even if the structure is very different. So you don't see long kind of integration projects that we have seen, 20 years back, right? The integration is actually super easy oftentimes. There is MCP and some other tools around it, but what it actually brings to the table is that the integration between different systems has never been easier than today. And with all the information and the capability to kind of align this information from different sources, and the capability of these technologies to plan ahead and break it down into certain steps and then act upon it, that's radically new. And that is, at least the value proposition that we are still having all in mind, is that this will then also resolve some of the scaling problems on the end customers. And I know this sounds very abstract right now, and what we see oftentimes are more like AI capabilities sprinkling in here and there and making you a little bit more productive, but are still very much human-centered. But I think we are approaching very rapidly a time where the agent is doing at least certain subtasks very autonomously, and that will bring a lot more productivity gains to a company. And maybe we'll hear from Dennis a little bit later, but I think what's very interesting is also from a software vendor perspective, how do you kind of go through such a transition? Because it's not only you changing changing the engine underneath your product, it's also like a change in how do you work together with other products? How do you kind of expose this technology to your end users? And how do you potentially also change value proposition and monetization options? But I think for that, let's hear a bit more from Dennis, and then maybe I can chime in from time to time.
Can I also chime in on what you said, Marcus? So it's quite interesting, right? This transition from service provider, like agency work to SaaS, right? And a lot of customers are actually ISVs are moving in that direction, right? Because SaaS has a particular value proposition, and some of them is actually also agility, right? So, and although you move the bottleneck from you as a service provider to your customers, in a long run your customer will profit, because you as a service provider, as a SaaS provider, will be more agile. You will actually be able to deliver more features. You will actually be able to scale and grow and provide better service to your customers, which is not the case with the MSP, right? So in MSP, with every project you need to either hire or scale somehow on number of people, which is very hard. This was before agentic, right? So I think the move from MSP to SaaS was actually kind of, although it looked like I'm losing something as a customer on service, in a long term I will gain on new features, agility, better service, and kind of better value proposition also for me as a customer, and not only for HoneySales on this one. And second, then sorry, Marcus, go.
But I think I think most of this value proposition is not going away with agentic SaaS.
Yeah, true.
Right. So you mentioned some of the things that are oftentimes, how do I streamline my software processes, right? So before there was the software vendor who had control over the R&D and development and maybe the artifact, but then it was on somebody else to finally install and operate and do some stuff with it.
Yeah.
And that went away with SaaS, right? Where this was all suddenly in one hand, and then you could control which version they actually utilize, and you could benefit from the economy of scale, what we always say, because for you as a provider, right, you operate suddenly workloads that are very much like the same, and hundreds and thousands of them maybe next to each other, which allows you to automate and optimize for that. But as a consumer, right, if you had to operate all on this on your own, you would have probably 1,000 software products, and that's a good number that we have found for an upper mid-market customer. But you had to operate them one by one, and none of them would look like the other. And so there was, it was very hard to automate this at scale. So what I'm trying to say is SaaS was basically streamlining a lot of things. It was all about scalability, and it was all about bringing value in the hand of a customer as fast as you potentially can.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all these things, they will still remain. But we will hear maybe from Dennis, or back to you, Armin, first, how that really looks like in reality. Yeah.
No, let's not abuse the show. Let's move back to Dennis, if it's okay.
Well, I do think we kind of, or I kind of intentionally left our audience on a bit of a cliffhanger there. And so, Dennis, you've walked us through and hit at our hearts, because the journey you're on is a journey we've seen, and that we've been helping a number of other companies through along the way. And so, you kind of revalidating our view of the world. And so now you've hit the spot where you have personally, your HoneySales has its ICP. You're understanding how to work with your customers. You've understand how to automate that and move from a person to a SaaS perspective. And now you're saying, okay, so now we need to move to the agents approach. When you move into the agent approach, what did that mean to you? And from an engineering and tooling perspective, how did you start?
Yeah, it's, I would say, interesting story. I mean, in general, I continuously learning, never stop learning. And yeah, since it was really the hype that time, and still I was reading a lot about LLM and the agents, how you can leverage them. And so since we got this idea that we need basically a human in the loop, right? This sales consultant is kind of a human in the loop, which collects all the data or whatever data customer provides, analyze it, and then generate ICP, right? Or ICP segments. And yeah, so for me, although I didn't have this experience really building agents, so I mean, till that moment, I got this idea that probably this is the nice approach to implement that. And nearly at the same time, we discovered that Amazon launched this Gen AI program. And yeah, I decided that we need to apply. We discussed it with co-founders of the HoneySales. And yeah, to be completely frankly, they were quite skeptical, or they didn't even understand what are those agents, why do we need them. And yeah, so I prepared the application. I was like, guys, there is an application, please check it. And before I send it, no one checked, I just sent it. And so yeah, thanks to GenAI team, they accepted our application. So we were part of this 2 days amazing workshop. I got a lot of experience, and at that time it was mainly focused on Bedrock and Bedrock agents and knowledge bases. So we decided right away that probably it's too much for us to start. And yeah, so to build the proof of concept, we decided to go really simple. So we wanted to have something which we can easily develop pretty fast, and we can deploy it right away and give immediate access to at least internal customers. So they may give us the feedback, how does it feel to do sales with agents? Because for all of us, including tech people, this experience was quite new. I'm sure tech people used AI for coding, like Copilot at that time. Other people also used ChatGPT, but no one used it in some not 100% chat flow, I would say. So it's still not simple chat. There should be some flow, like something on top of pure chat or pure chat GPT. So yeah, once again, at the same time, is agentic strength agents is key. And since our team didn't have like too much experience with other frameworks like LangChain or CrewAI, so we tried it, but for us it wasn't a big deal to start with another framework. And we do believe that since Amazon is working on this framework, it should be deeply integrated with all the other services Amazon have. And since our infrastructure was already in AWS, we decided, so at least we may try to build POC with strengths, and then if we consider it not suitable, then we may change it in a point of time. So yeah, we started simple monolithic application using Strengths SDK, and simple UI with everything was packed in Docker container and deployed to Fargate. And yeah, we had load balancer in front, and then we had UI, S3 bucket, and cloud front in front. So pretty simple, I would say, for us to start building real application, which users may really try, click, type, and feel. Yeah, and they got immediate access to the app. So we did updates multiple times a day, and people had access right away to it. So yeah, that's how we started, and I would recommend everyone to start that way, to not think about complicated infrastructure at the beginning. You should really get experience building agents, because I truly believe it's totally different from let's call it, I don't know, should I say legacy software engineering? Yeah, it's totally different. At least for me, for me, it's hard to design something using some new tooling until I really try it, and I try with different edge cases. I know what it can, what it cannot, what it struggle with, and only after that I can really start designing real production ready application. And to have this experience and to give at least internal customers experience, I would say this setup is pretty cool.
How long did that process take for you? So I mean, how long did it go from, because you started with my leadership's in disbelief, we shouldn't do this, to, you know what, AWS has a product or a program, I'm going to sign up, I'm going to use some of their tools, I'm going to see this. So how long did it take from you to go? How long did it take to go from you going, I think this is the future, to I know this is the future, and then how long after that before your leadership bought in?
Yeah, so first of all, I tried just on locally with Strengths SDK, just dumb simple agent. I pushed in all the data supposed to be collected from the customer and asked it to generate ICP segments. And I mean, all the results, of course, was not production ready. You cannot show to real customers, but it was promising. So I got a belief that it might work if we do everything properly. So then we decided to build the app, which our customers may use, like our salespeople, our co-founders. And it took us actually about 2 or 3 weeks to have first application. So quite fast we realized that one agent is not enough, and we built multi-agent. And it's really cool that in Strengths it's quite simple to do if you follow the agent as a tool approach. So you just wrap agent into tool decorator, and you have agent as a tool. So this is what you need to have multi-agent architecture with Strengths. I mean, for sure it's not for production, but for the POC it's totally enough. So we had this orchestrator agent, and we had a set of assistants. Like one was doing sales company research, another one was doing sale personal profile research, then collect all the data. Then another agent was analyzing CRM data, and then build first, actually we changed that approach. At the beginning, it was just collecting data from CRM, analyzing which companies might be considered as reference customers, to avoid checking all the companies you have in CRM. It doesn't make any sense. Then we had an agent which was doing like deep research for those reference customers. Then another agent was actually building ICPs. And yeah, then we had an interviewer, because we knew it at the beginning, and especially we now know it even more. Quite often people don't have good data in CRM. There are multiple reasons for that. Sometimes, yeah.
Can I just interrupt just to kind of try to understand and recap? So basically, instead of sending a human, right, to your customer, a consultant, to do the interviewing, collect the data, make sure that the data is clean, and so at the end to create the ICP, so ideal customer profile, as I learned a couple of minutes ago. So now what you created a fleet of agents to replace a human. So how your customer interact with that agent? So is that we can actually talk about orchestration later, but I'm just not sure, are they going to some kind of front end, and are they always talking to one agent, which is interviewer, or depending on the phase they always talk to different agents? And then we can talk about communication between agents maybe after
Yeah,
that.
we had multiple iterations of this architecture, and the current one we already have an idea how to change it even further. Yeah, so yeah, as I explained, first idea was, the local prototype was just one agent, and we recognized right away that it's too much for one agent to do all those steps. It start hallucinating pretty quick. So we recognize that you should keep the context of the agent as small as possible. So to avoid these hallucinations and keep it focused, that's why we decided to do multi-agents. So basically agent per domain, let's say.
Cool.
And how we did it at the beginning, user had as a chat with orchestrator agent, and orchestrator agent was a proxy to assistants. And yeah, that was, from customer perspective, it was quite comfortable to work with, because you always have only one chat. You talk with this chat, and then this guy decides what to do next. But from token consumption perspective and from performance perspective, it was a disaster. So it worked extremely slow. The transparency is really bad. User don't know what's going on in the background. They always have this feeling that the application doesn't work, it's stuck. You reload, nothing happens. So yeah, from user experience perspective, it was good from one side that you talk with only one agent, but really bad because of lack of transparency, and it worked really, really slow. So yeah, that's why and the next iteration, we transitioned to user to assistant communication, direct communication. We removed orchestrator completely. So we introduced the shared workflow tool to the agents, so they may synchronize the pipeline between each other. So they are able to write to the workflow step and artifacts they're responsible for, and may read artifacts and workflow state of other agents. And that's how they synchronized. And yeah, users now communicate directly to the agents. It worked way faster. You always see what's going on, which tools agents are calling, what results they produce. So from that perspective, it's really cool. But the fact that you have to talk with multiple agents, we recognize that it confuses people. So quite often you lose the track, and you start asking questions to agent A although they're supposed to be asked to agent B. And yeah, it happens quite often. And yeah, this is really destructive experience when you ask. So you,
but the agents can actually talk between themselves, right? So agent A can talk to agent B, or is it really kind of fully isolated?
yeah, right now it's fully isolated.
Okay.
So that's why we already have in mind next iteration of this architecture.
Yeah. I think that
And I do want to jump in here just because I think that's a fascinating topic, and I do think it's a fun topic that we should dive into. Agent communications, agent ring fencing, agent boundaries, rules, and restrictions. But I do think that's a full topic by itself, and we are near the top of the hour, and so we're probably not going to be able to do that topic any justice. And so, Dennis, we do end all of our talks. So again, thank you for this. This has been a fascinating and fun conversation, and has also mirrored the transition of our podcast series, because we started talking to people where you guys were, and now we're on Agentic, and we're all kind of figuring out, okay, so we know Agentic's here, we're all believers, we're all figuring out how to do this by ourselves, do this as we go. And so it helps tremendously for all of us to listen to what that is. And so, but we do end all of our topics or all of our shows with kind of the same question, which is kind of, what did you learn this week? But just as a reflection on, the fact that this industry, the industry has never changed as fast as it's changing right now. And so is there a new tool or is there a new tweak that you kind of really learned this week that's kind of fun? And so with that, Marcus, I'm going to start with you. Then I move to Erwin, and then Dennis, you get to go last because you're new to this and you get to think what that's going to be. So Marcus.
So what did I learn new? I mean, tons of things for sure. We released this week, I believe, or maybe last week, an extension or a new capability to Strengths SDK, which is called SOP. So that's basically how to structure your work, or how to give it a structure, standard operational procedure. And you can basically, in natural language, formulate the kind of way you want an agent or a multi-agent system to work. And I mean, I'm just, at the beginning of understanding all this, but it gives a lot more structure to, I mean, first of all, it lets you build workflows without having, heavyweight workflow tools, by just describing on what do you think the procedure should look like. And second of all, it really helps to streamline and also get more predictable outcomes to the things that you would otherwise ideally see, but not always get out of these probabilistic systems. So Strengths Agents SOP, it's called. Take a look. Amazing.
Love it. Erwin?
Yep. Two things, right? So I'll start with a really cool, something that I didn't build, but I learned how I saw how colleagues do it, and I was really impressed, right? So, and apologies for the audience that I am coming now with the Amazon model, right? But my colleague was actually using Amazon Nova Sonic in order to create an audio assistant, so assistant that you can actually talk to, and then this assistant would actually reply to you. It was also kind of using agent strengths, and no, sorry, it was without the strengths agents. It was just using Amazon Nova Sonic through SDKs. So at the end, what he built is actually some kind of training agent that can actually train your sales staff, for example, to talk to play kind of role model trainings, right? So kind of the agent will act as a customer on the phone, and then you would go talk to that customer, and then you will go through different scenarios. But I was really impressed with the voice, impressed how we as a human, we all have a particular way of saying the sentences, stopping, accenting particular words and things like that. And this Nova Sonic was actually able to understand everything and respond. Like I really had a feeling when I talked to Nova Sonic that I'm talking, or at least to that agent, that I'm talking to a human that actually needs something from me. And I, as a solutions architect, I was actually explaining my view on that. So this is, and then the other thing that I kind of, learned is I was recently building my own agents, and what Dennis said, right? I was using strengths agents. It's actually funny how funny how many tools you have to build anything you want, right? So I wanted to build a journaling agent to help me journal, and I started actually from scratch building something like that, right? And then I realized, okay, there is already a journaling tool in Strengths. So I was basically, removing all my work and then just, using the tool, and it worked actually out of the box almost, right? So those are two things that I learned in the last 7 days, or last 2 weeks actually, since we took last time.
Love it. Dennis?
So, I mean, I cannot name this specific tool. From tools perspective, recently probably I discovered this recently released IDE from Google, which is anti-gravity. But I actually opened it and started configuring, and then I was like, I didn't use Kiro for quite some time. Let me check what they changed so far, and then I recognized that they finally introduced the possibility to sign in with company profile. So I haven't have to do magic anymore to sign in to Kiro. And yeah, thanks to anti-gravity release, I completely switched from VS Code to Kiro recently. It was just a trigger. But besides that, my main focus recently is this new buzzword I discovered, is context engineering. And this is what occupies my mind recent weeks. So we reached the point when we need to optimize a lot, reduce token usage, and yeah, we already introduced a lot of techniques. I would say we reduced the token consumption about 4 or 5 times, which is already pretty good, but we want to do more. And yeah, I discovered a lot of patterns, like good explanations of difference between workflows and agents actually. And yeah, we see those limitations of the frameworks. So this simple approach of the agentic loop, which strengths have, when you just get user input, then ask LLM, and push a set of tools, then expect from LLM that it tell you which tools to call, then framework calls them, then send this data back, and then it calling, and then compounding this context. At the end, this context getting so huge, such a lot of waste in this context. Then you have to do everything like custom. You have to do the custom, like defining real time. This is what we do right now, defining real time what specific tools lists are required for this specific context. So to reduce the context as much as possible, so LLM stays focused. It also helps to avoid hallucinations, and for sure we pay way less, and we want to do this more and more. So yeah, context engineering is my buzzword right now. And yeah, and this is basically what we consider as the next iteration of our architecture. So at the beginning, I mistakenly use the metaphor of database when I think about agent or LLM. So I consider it LLM as a kind of database which my service is calling. That's why our architecture is kind of microservices. Each agent is a microservice having its database, which is LLM in this case. And this is wrong metaphor, since LLM is not database, it's stateless. I mean, it's not a pure function because it has this data set and random nature, but from your data perspective, it's stateless. And in each point of time, you may call different LLMs. It depends always on your context, and you should be able to dynamically generate this context, this minimum set of tools, and then call LLM, which is the most suitable for this specific context. And then you do these iterations, and it means that you basically don't need multiple instances for each agent, because what defines agent is just a role and the list of available tools. And if you have it in MCP somewhere, then you may have only one instance which dynamically generate constant context, take the proper role, generate a proper list of tools, call proper specific LLM, and then give answer back to the user. Yeah, sorry for that.
No, love it. And to be honest, if I were a betting man, and I'm not, I would be betting that context engineering is the word of 2026. And so I do think context engineering is everything. I do think there's a lot of things that we talk about from in the AI world, in the agentic world, that is just shorthand for better management of your context window and understanding where your context window is. And I do think we talked a little bit last week about MCPs and kind of what's going wrong, what's going right with MCPs and what's going wrong with MCPs. And one of the biggest problems with MCPs is they're loading a whole bunch of unnecessary data into your context window. And so tuning of MCPs is a big topic, but no one ever says why. Why? It's because it's all context engineering. And so I'm 100% agree with you. I do think 2026 is going to be the buzzword. My early betting buzzword for 2026 is going to be context engineering. And so with that, you guys said, and by the way, the second one I actually learned from you today, which I like a lot, Dennis, which was agent as a tool. And so I understand the concept of that immediately when you say it. It is a phrase, it's a thing I've struggled to say in big complex words. But that phrase of context or as agent as a tool is such a clean way of describing something I've been trying to describe for a while. So I love that one from you too, by the way. And so in rounding it out,
to be honest, this is from Strengths SDK documentation. This term I didn't invent.
Yes, but you said it first, so you get to take credit for it. You said it to me, so I'm giving credit. It was a U.S. holiday here here yesterday, and so and it's a U.S. holiday called Thanksgiving, which for some reason involves a lot of turkeys, and I'm still not sure why. And so my AI trick this week is Google shipped a new image generator within the Gemini product called Nano Banana Pro. It is simply the most amazing image modification tool I've ever seen in my life, and to use it for a really good purpose in life. Anytime someone sent me a happy Thanksgiving note yesterday via text, I would go into my pictures. I'd find my most recent picture with that person, and I would have Nana Banana change them to dressed like a turkey and immediately send it back to them. It would take about 4 or 5 seconds for that entire process to happen. Wow. And I had a huge amount of fun with it. And I guarantee that's all I'm going to be doing during Christmas as well. And so if any of your relatives are sick and tired of hearing about AI, that might be my fault, because we are not always using it in the most productive way. But if you haven't played with Nano Banana Pro and what Gemini is doing with image there, no one else, in my opinion, is even close to them. But seriously, someone sends me a note within 4 seconds. I'm responding back with a personalized happy Thanksgiving of that person dressed as a turkey, and 3 of them responded back with, I don't remember ever being dressed as a turkey, because they were looking at a picture of themselves and were not able to tell that they were dressed as a turkey. And so, again, perhaps not the most useful version of AI, but I found a whole lot of fun with it. So Dennis, thank you. Aaron, Marcus, as always, thank you. We'll see everybody in 2 weeks, and thanks for listening in.
Yeah. And thanks for the great idea, Michael, now with Nano Banana.
Now I know what to do during the weekend.
Exactly.
It takes
Thank you, guys.
and it is so much fun.
Okay, excellent. Thanks
Cool.
a lot, team. Dennis, thanks for joining. Marcus.
Cheers.
Pleasure,
Have a good
guys.
weekend.
Ciao.